holding on to the
Oh God, no, we're losing the Maple Story. No. Guys, Nexon lied to all of you. They literally change your RNG based on how much money you spend on the game. Stop playing that dog shit game. Also, stop playing RuneScape. You have a 5090. Most played MMOs 2025 sorted by active players mid-year update. Monka W. We watch this every time. Chat, do you think BDO has gone up or down? Every 6 months he puts out this video. All right, so guys, predictions. Is BDO up, down, or in the middle? Up, down, or in the middle? Where it was before? I think down. I think we're down. I think we're down 3 slots. I'm going to predict down 3 slots. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking down 3 slots. 3 slots. Let's look at the Steam charts. I actually haven't looked at the Steam charts in a few days. Okay, yeah, it's been a rough... Okay, okay, yeah, it's been a rough few months, guys. Okay, it's been... Okay, all right, we're fine. Everything's going to be okay. All right, we're going to be fine. Everything's going to be okay. All right, let's see where we're at.
Lucky here, and it's time for the mid-year update where we look at the most played MMOs right now. A lot has changed since the last time I made this video. We've seen some MMOs move way up on this list and some move way down. This video is strictly by the numbers, which means I'm not ranking them by quality, simply by active player base size. Which ones are dying and which ones are thriving, let's find out. First up at number 17.
Oh my God, it's in last place. Yeah, what? Oh God, dude. Oh my God, bro. One thing that all video players can agree on, whether you're a doomer or not. We're looking over at Lost Ark. At least we're not them. Sorry, guys. Holy shit.
Lost Ark. Continuing its steep descent, Lost Ark has dropped 1 more place from 16
Hey, thanks for the Prime sub, but I appreciate you.
to 17. Lost Ark is a free-to-play top-down MMORPG that launched.
This is such a shame because Lost Ark has some of the best gameplay I think of any MMO in terms of like the graphical quality, how good the combat feels. Right, it's arguably best in genre combat. I would still give it to BDO hands down, but that's kind of an opinion thing. But you could make a case for Lost Ark being some of the best like feel to its combat in the genre. And then the raids, I hear nothing but positive things about the raids, and then I love watching Stoops do them every time they come out and stuff. But like, damn, bro, clearly they're doing something wrong, man.
Launched in the East in 2019, and then finally here in the West in 2022. Players have attributed the steep player decline to the game's repetitive daily gameplay loop. And
which one do you think is going to be higher, BDO or Throne and Liberty? Which one do you think is going to be higher, BDO or Throne? Last time BDO beat Throne by like 1. Technically. But again, this guy, like, I think it's based on Google Trends, which ironically enough is actually a closer representation probably than Steam Charts. Steam Charts shows you the number of players. Google Trends shows you the interest in the game, which I think is probably a little bit more... I think it's a reasonably accurate, like, trend. You can't like go off the number itself, right? But you can look at like the trends, like how many people are like interested in looking at stuff for this game, right?
The pay to win.
I don't know. It's tough to say. Talandre came out in the first half of this year, so
monetization. Lost Ark seems to really be struggling with new player onboarding. Getting players through the early levels and into the end game content with the current player base is not easy when it comes to a game with this much grind.
I'm still gonna play this game. I don't care.
One of Lost Ark's biggest strengths is its combat.
For anyone worried that I'm not going to play it because some dude on the internet said, "Oh, it's declining," I don't really care about what it looks like in the chart. Its gameplay, its combat looks really good. I am going to try this game, but first I would really want to dive into Guild Wars 2 because I feel like I would really enjoy Guild Wars 2 World versus World, and I think that I want to shot call it. It's been really fun to dive into the world so far. It's been like, you know, exploring it and having fun with it. And then the community has responded really well to it too. So like I once we're finished exploring Guild Wars 2, I think Lost Ark might be on the chopping block for them.
On top of that, the game has a wide variety of classes with more on the way, each with their own look and feel to make sure anyone can find the right class for them.
Looks like
we
Path
look
of
at Lost
Exile
Ark's
2
trends,
now.
we can see the interest in Lost Ark exploded in February of 2022 when it launched in the West, but then quickly lost those players as time went on.
Holy shit, guys. Oh my god. What the hell happened here, bro? Oh man, dude, we really bottomed the out, bro. And you can clearly see it's still declining. You can barely see it because it's so close to the x-axis already, but it is still declining. Is rough.
Leaving it all
I mean, if you think that the other MMOs like Throne isn't going to look like this in 4 years or crazy,
the way
I think.
down here in last place at number 17 on the list.
I give you fast forward BDO, it's going to look the same way.
Next up, we have Albion Online, which has moved up one position to number 16 on the list. Albion Online
But not because there's been more interest, it's because there's less interest in Lost Ark.
is a fantasy sandbox MMORPG that was released in 2017 and it's available on PC, Mac, iOS, and Android. And it's free to play and full of pay for power. This one's not for the faint of heart because Albion Online is a full loot PvP MMO. Fortunately, if you lose a full loot PvP fight, it's not too terribly difficult to recover from. Most players are running around with gear that is only worth about 1% of their net worth. Once you've been looted by an enemy, all you have to do is go back and buy replacement gear, and the
Lost Ark also has an aggressive pay to win late game. Oh, that's fair. Thank God that we don't play a game like that. Thank God that we don't play it. Thank God BDO's not like this. You know what I mean? Like, holy shit. Oh, God, that would suck then. Oh my God.
The game has made this process as easy as clicking one button in the shop. The game features a massive progression tree where the more you use something, the more you level it up and unlock things down that branch of the tree. Albion Online does not require a mandatory sub, but it does.
Where is he getting these numbers from? Google Trends. Google Trends. So the only way to accurately tell, most MMOs don't disclose their actual like number of their player base. The only thing that can do that is Steam, and a lot of MMOs have like multiple clients for their MMO. So you can't really use either of those numbers. But I think that Google Trend is actually like a reasonable number. I've given it a lot of thought. I realized it in the last video. I was unsure about how I felt about it. I was like, I don't know, maybe it discredits the numbers a little bit. I actually think that it's probably the most accurate way to tell how many players are actually playing a game or are interested in an MMO. Right, is like Google Trends. I think is a very reasonable way of looking at that. No, it's not perfect, but I think it accurately represents the order, if that makes sense. You're not going to get a number per se, but you will get a general trend. And that's why they call it Google Trends.
Offer an optional sub that will greatly reduce the grind to your max level. The game
I do think that it inaccurately or disproportionately, I don't know. No, I think it's reasonable because when a new expansion comes out for an MMO, obviously the Google Trend goes crazy.
has attracted a niche audience, helping it make it onto this list.
Right.
If you're looking for something different and high stakes that feels like a MOBA and an MMO merged into one beautiful creature, Albion Online might be a good choice for you. Falling 3 places all the way down to number 15.
That's okay. If he had made this video in 20 days. What the fuck? Bro, if he had made this video in 20 days, Throne would be much better off. Mainly because the tournament's going to eat. Tournament is going to do really good, like Google Trend things for circulation on this game. That's okay. Evidently, I'm going to carry this shit on my back.
On the list is Throne and Liberty. This
Really,
MMO
bro? Straight out of the pot? Why would I dirty a dish?
has definitely fallen short of expectations. It's a gorgeous PvP-centric MMO with very little PvE. Combine that with the fact
When is the tourney? It's in 7 days.
that it's got massive pay for power, and you end up with an MMO for a very niche audience. Players complain about a lack of content and
To be clear, there are about 8,000 players, 8 to 9,000 players signed up for the tournament worldwide, which is pretty crazy.
a repetitive daily gameplay.
And to put this in perspective,
just resubscribed for 6 months.
to put this in perspective, on the Steam charts, which the game is only available on Steam, we're close to half of the player base is in the tournament. To put that in perspective. Now, to be clear, this does not represent console. This does not represent consoles, so it's probably less than half. I'd say it's like 35 to 40% of the player base is literally participating in the tournament itself. So when I say it's going to increase circulation, I do mean I'm serious. It's a big deal. I'm hyped. My leave is already approved. Let's go. Ente. Wait, what? Welcome back for 6 months, buddy. Appreciate you. What the?
Play loop, burning them out on the young game. While fans of the game love the group,
I think it's the gameplay loop that primarily contributes to Throne of Liberty's downfall as an MMO overall. I do think that the gameplay loop is what has them really struggling. They just can't find... they haven't tried to find a gameplay loop that players can get on board with, or that is very satisfying for players really at all now. It's just like, again, like, bro, you've got like contracts, you're constantly redoing your dungeons and stuff, and then it's a really slow paced grind, and if you get behind on it, like you miss like 2 or 3 days, you're just so far behind, it feels like, because then you have to make up all of the previous 3 days and do the like today's work too. It can feel like too much of a hurdle, and it can feel like too much of a hurdle for a lot of players, and then once it completely stacks up and it maxes out, then you genuinely just feel like you're getting behind, and then people just let go. Like, it's just... I think that they've missed the mark on their gameplay loop in general, but I think their end game PvP systems are really good. And them getting, like, where Throne of Liberty succeeds is the fact that it makes you play with other players a lot, right? And forces you to interact in dungeons, forces you to interact for PvP and large scale PvP, and it's really easy to get into PvP, right? Like, that stepping stone is relatively easy, right? But again, I think it falls short in like the long-term grind, and that's why you see it fall off so far hard between expansions. I do think that we'll see it, like they release another expansion for it. I think that everybody comes back, plays it for a month or two, and then leaves it again.
group PvP battles. I really hoped this would be the next big MMO,
Is TNL's catch up any good? Extremely good, yeah.
but sitting down here at number 15 on the list, less than a year after its release, it's not looking likely. Next up is Lord of the Rings Online. Holding on to the number 14 spot. It was released in 2000.
Okay, Throne, we are literally losing to Lord of the Rings Online. It's not a good look. It's not a good look. Okay,
and then in 2010, the game went from being subscription.
You know what? I go back on everything I said before. Bro, it's just a Google trend. It's not accurate. It's just a Google trend. It's not accurate at all. I can't wait for the comments on my video to be like, we told you it was a mobile game, Baldy. God, you're so stupid. Like, God, dude, that's the parrot MMO players that, like, there's something wrong with like the MMO community where, like, if you play one MMO, you're not allowed to play another MMO, or people, like, they get mad at you for, like, it's like a loyalty thing. You know what I mean? They get, like, vicious, vile hatred towards you for, like, betraying their, like, sacred game. And then they, like, start virtue signaling on the multi-billion-dollar company's behalf. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's actually just a crazy phenomenon that we see going on.
To being free to play.
I guarantee there's going to be comments like that.
Lord of the Rings Online is a classic ARC MMO. It's got a respectable Lord of the Rings inspired story with some really solid voice acting. Like many of the free-to-play MMOs, it's not massively popular, but it's alive enough to enjoy it. It's worth noting that in order to have access to all...
This is not fair. The only reason Throne is losing to this is because there's more fans of Lord of the Rings than there are of Throne. I need this.
All of the races and classes, you'll have to spend money, so you aren't quite getting the full experience for free. You can also choose to sub for 15 bucks a month in order to get things like extra inventory space and extra quests. If you want a fun little trip down nostalgia lane and a classic MMO experience that you can enjoy for free, maybe
I have bigger balls than blue, still would.
Try Lord of the Rings Online. Next up at number 13 is EverQuest. Sitting here as the oldest MMO we'll talk about.
EverQuest? Oh, what? This game didn't even release in the 2000s.
Today, launched all the way back in 1999. EverQuest still has a small but respectable population, still popular enough to hold on to the 13th spot.
Who are we? The Throne of Liberty community. We haven't even got a BDO yet.
list. But before WoW, when no one knew what an MMO was, there was EverQuest. This game has the classic MMO formula because it invented a lot of it. EverQuest can be punishing. Dying can mean you have to go back and pick up your corpse to get your gear back.
I just hope that BDO's beating Maple's story, to be honest.
Tremont can spell your death. This old MMO is still getting expansions today, which is definitely contributing to the fact that it's still this high up on the list today. It's worth hard to do group content if you're not someone who's willing to multi-box, as this is one of the more popular ways to play the game these days. Next up, falling farther than any other MMO on the list, this time
It's lower than New World. How? That's not possible. That's not possible. I feel like Luke Skywalker. What? Stop. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. There's no way. I don't you. This is not accurate at all. Completely debunked. Completely debunked. It's totally inaccurate. I don't understand. How is this possible?
time around is New World, dropping from number 6 to number 12 after seeing a brief population spike during its relaunch, where it changed its name from New World to New World Eternum. This is one of the few MMOs that you can play on PC, Xbox, and PlayStation. As far as MMOs go, New World is one of the most fairly monetized ones out there, featuring very little in the way of things that could be considered pay to win. The game is buy to play with an optional battle pass. New World features a massive seamless open world for you to explore, and that's where it definitely shines. When you're out exploring, questing, killing, and gathering, and all the things you stumble into
God, that combat looks like shit, bro. Like
along the way. Every bush, tree, or rock can be gathered to level up your crafting and gathering. New World features the trinity of tank, healer, and DPS, and has some incredibly challenging dungeons and raids.
I do believe that it has good dungeons, raids. It looks really good. I think that some of the systems in the game look good, but the thing that drove me to not play New World is 100% the combat looks like shit.
New World brought some unique ideas to the MMO.
Like, people say that Thrones combat looks bad. This looks worse. I'd rather just have tab target, to be honest. Because at least in tab target, you have like the option of a bunch of skills to use and like what order, and there's like some complexity to like Warlock and World of Warcraft. You know what I mean? We're like, okay, if I do this in this order, whatever. But like, I'd rather just have tab target, like just to be straight up. Like,
genre, but has failed to release a steady stream of content for the players that do enjoy the game, leading to many of them drifting away from this new MMO faster than.
That was the weekend. I did hard manual labor, moving like 500 to 600 pound oak tree stumps in my parents' yard. And like using you guys ever used a chainsaw before? Like a big one, like a 24-incher. You got your leg up on the, yeah, like, bro, that was me all weekend. Paul Bunyoning. Crazy, bro. 3 straight days. I'm kind of big. Did I just unplug my microphone? What the wait, why is my camera broken? God damn it. I'm literally so buff. The camera cannot contain me. My God, I am so hot. Holy shit. You are all welcome for even being able to look at me. Ugh. God. Does anyone know where the weights are? Are they over there?
I can see the abs on your bald head.
Are they over there? God damn it. Anyway.
They would have liked.
This is the moment I tuned into the stream for the first time. Welcome to the entertainment zone, brother. Okay, so are we as the Throne community really losing to New World? Yes, apparently we are. At least in Google Trends and interest in the game, yes, we are. The question is BDO losing to Maple Story? Okay,
It's also worth noting that this...
Also, at least we're all not Lost Ark. Oh my God, clowns, dude.
Same studio.
Wait, what does Lost Ark Steam charts look like? Like Thrones. Oh God. 40% increase in the last 30 days. Huge.
Is currently well underway on a Lord of the Rings MMO, which has undoubtedly taken some of the resources and experienced developers from the New World team.
I would way rather play Lost Ark than New World. The combat looks better, the raids look better, the gameplay looks better, the game looks better, everything just looks better. Except for New World has more systems. I think it has better life skilling systems, probably.
possibly contributing to the lack of content. Next up, we have EVE Online, moving up 4 spots to number 11, though this is less the result of its population increasing and more the result of other MMOs' populations decreasing. EVE Online released way back in 2003.
Bro, people are so dedicated to EVE, they straight up, they don't even know what other games are. These people still play StarCraft 2. They're like, their definition of good games, like, yeah, I play EVE and StarCraft 2.
And it's an MMO where your goal is to build and upgrade a powerful spaceship.
How is it that all of these games are still better than what we have releasing in 2025? Like, Ashes of Never Being Created looks worse than this by like a landslide. How in the are the games that were released in like the early to like, you know, like first like 15 years of the 2000s, like before 2015, all better than everything that was released after 2015? What the is going on?
So that you can join.
It's not just MMOs though. It's not just MMOs either, but like, yeah, MMOs are a perfect example.
With
Like,
others to vie for control of the most profitable sectors of space.
That'll happen to
It's
our
free to
devs.
play with the option to pay money to do things like access more spaceships sooner. It also has an optional sub, and this sub is the most expensive subscription on the entire list today, sitting at $20 per month. As with most optional subs, fans of the game will often tell you that if you intend to fully enjoy the game, the sub's not so optional. PvP in EVE Online is high stakes, as when your ship is destroyed, it does not respawn. No, you must build it again. So be prepared to spend days, weeks, or even months refarming materials to get your ship back.
never mind, I don't want to play EVE. How can you play something like this? There is no way. Dude, that would be like playing BDO for like 3 months, finally getting to like Pen Karazad or like Hex Karazad, and then dying one time in PvP, and then having to start over with Tuvala.
EVE was never the biggest MMO, but it and its fan and its developers have kept it on this list for over 2 decades.
Takes an hour, not days? I don't know, man.
Likely because there's nothing else like
Maybe I should try it.
it.
There's nothing else like it. True.
For the top 10, holding on to the
Oh God! No, we're losing to Maple Story. God. Guys, Nexon lied to all of you. They literally change your RNG based on how much money you spend on the game. Stop playing that dog shit game. Also, stop playing RuneScape. You have a 5090.
the 10th spot, BDO is known for its beautiful graphics and flashy combat. It's an open world game with very little in the way of instanced content. You don't play BDO for the dungeons and the raids. You play BDO to go out and kill things in the open world, often for hours on end.
This guy sucks at trolls, bro. Get behind the oh my God. Oh, I am so sorry. I didn't mean to. I thought it was some random. I thought it was a random. I'm sorry, Shaky. Please, I don't need another controversy video right now. I've already got enough people. Shaky, why are you not behind the mob,
just
bro?
to gain a few % of a level. It's very much a grindy game. It's important to note that this is an always on PvP game. Once you hit 50, the PvP is on. For the most
That's so okay. No, that's okay. Technically, yes, but like, let's be honest. No. Like, no.
part, anyone can kill you at almost any time. This doesn't mean they will, but this is definitely one of the unique qualities of this game that makes it popular among PvPers. BDO has some pretty negative associations here in the West, thanks to its previous publisher making the game overly pay to win with...
Oh God, there's fake too. Look at that. Holy shit. That's, bro, did I make it in here? What the? Of course not. I don't actually play the game.
some pretty heavy-handed monetization on top of that.
I hate it when people say that. Honestly, I don't hate it. I love it. I love it when people are like, Blue doesn't play the game. And then you literally see me playing for like 50 to 60 hours a week. And then I never stop making content for the game all the time. I play more than they do.
But since the developers parted way with that publisher, the game has undone a lot of the less popular aspects of its monetization, making
Now,
it
this is what I expect to see out of Shaky Bay.
possibly worth looking into again if you haven't recently. BDO features a ton of unique classes and continues to actively update the game, but how is the game's population trending of late? The population seems to be holding on, and BDO
Seems to be holding on. I don't know, guys. It looks like it. If we draw a graph, you know what I mean? That definitely looks like it's going downhill. I'll be honest. You know, it's like, holding on is such a relative term. And again, this is just from 2021, by the way. This is just since 2021. Okay. Holding on to something. Yeah, we'll see.
seems to have largely slowed the bleeding of its player base. Recent expansions have added a lot of questing.
Oh, quest. Stop it. You're embarrassing yourself. Recent expansions have added a lot of ways to play this game without actually playing this game. And so players have decided that, well, the game is complete garbage, but I suppose I can just play AFK for a while. See if it gets any better. And if it doesn't, eventually we'll just stop.
And PvE content if you're someone who prefers that type of content. Next up, climbing 2 spots to number 9 is
We're losing to SWTOR. Are we kidding me right now? Are we actually joking? This is a prank. I'm being pranked. I played this game before I played BDO. I played this game and realized, well, I'm sure it's got a lot better, but it was basically just shit when I played it, because all the bounty hunters were just objectively better than the Jedi when the game released. It was so annoying. But like, I just kind of gave up on it pretty quickly.
Star Wars: The Old Republic. BioWare has handed this game off to a new developer to keep it up and running as they move on to new projects. Typically, this doesn't bode well for the future of an MMO.
Oh, God, it's like Guild Wars 2 meets Star Wars. Like, God, where is Guild Wars 2?
But time will tell. So far, the handoff has been a bit rough, with the next story expansion having been significantly delayed. This is another...
Guild Wars 2 is just a better version of this game. That's the reason that this game is... SWTOR is a good game. I played it for a while, but I'll be honest with you, now playing Guild Wars 2, it's just a way better game.
MMO that is now free to play with an optional sub.
It's not even a
that
question.
Optional sub will unlock a lot of things, but most importantly, it will give you access to all of the zones in the game forever, even if you only sub for 1 month and then cancel. And veterans of the game will tell you that's exactly what you should do if you want to experience SWTOR. Star Wars: The Old Republic is most known for its amazing class stories that immerse you in the world of Star Wars, which are fully voice acted and are incredibly well fleshed out and written. It's not a bad game to pick up and play with a friend, as it does feature level scaling, which has resulted in the questing experience being very, very easy. So you'll definitely be jumping in for the story rather than the chat.
Wow, that gameplay looked good, chat. Woohoo! Also, he's level 3. He's played a lot of it.
Challenge. The population has been sliding over the years, albeit...
Oh my God, this is such bullshit. Look at that. Look at that. What the scammed. We got scammed, guys. We got scammed. It's fine.
Slowly, but now that the developers handed this game off to a new dev, we'll be keeping a close eye on it. Moving up 1 spot to number 8 is Guild Wars.
Let's go! At least one of the MMOs that I play is beating like Lord of the Rings Online and SWTOR
2, which had an
How is Guild Wars 2 at 8th?
explosive launch back in 2012 and has since been one of the most popular MMOs on the market. As MMOs go, Guild Wars does an excellent job of encouraging zone exploration and completion, and tried hard to break the mold of having players run from one...
just resubscribed for 2 months. I took your advice to drop BDO around a year ago and came here to thank you for that at blue_squadron. Still watch your streams whenever you do something else.
I did not recommend that you drop video. I did not know. Stop. Do not say thank you. Do not say thank you. I did not recommend that you do that. You're not help. I'm never beating the Doomer allegations. I am never beating the Doomer allegations. Guys, you guys are idiots. You guys are all apes. God, you guys are so stupid. Oh my God. Holy shit. You're so dumb. Tara, welcome back for 2 months, you idiot. Wait a minute. Let's back up. I took your advice and dropped BDO a year ago, but you've been subscribed for 2 months. Thanks for the support, man.
Zozik1 just resubscribed
There's
for 2
nothing
months.
suspicious
How
here.
the F do we get Garmouth's heart?
One yellow exclamation mark to the next. And it largely succeeded. Guild Wars
I'm going to try Guild Wars 2 World versus World. I really want to try shot calling it. I do. I
Thanks
want
for
to try this so
convincing
bad.
me to sell my BDO account and quit. Really helped me move onto the objectively better trending game, SWTOR.
Wars 2 features a very generous free trial. The first 80 levels are completely free, and the game does not feature a sub, not even one of
Free Palpatine is a sick name, by the way. That is a giga name right there. That's an S tier 10 out of 10 name.
those quote-unquote optional subs. So when it says you can play it for free, it means it. After the first 80 levels, there is a lot of great content.
It is so, like, Palpatine. Okay, but you know he meant Palpatine, but somebody had already taken it. But, like, that's why I said free Palpatine, right? Because Palpatine was, like, low-key a terrorist. And, like, the free... Never mind. I don't need to explain it.
To be had in the expansions. However, these will need to be purchased, and these expansions definitely house the best content in the game. Guild Wars 2 mounts are better and more fun than mounts in any other game, and its lack of rigid trinity of tank, healer, and DPS have made it a unique entry in the genre. One of the most memorable parts of Guild Wars 2 is its world events, where upwards of 100 players group up to take down dragons the size of skyscrapers. These fights are truly a sight to behold, and it's really cool to see that many people in the community all get together to take one of these things down.
I think that I think the raids or whatever of Guild Wars 2, I think they're called raids. I'm pretty sure they're called raids. I've seen a couple of them. They look sick. They look like they're really fun. It'll be my first experience doing a big raid like that. I've never gotten to do that, even in my hardcore classic WoW run. I did never die, but I made it like halfway through. I made it to level 42 or whatever without dying. But like I never made it to level 60 because like I just didn't have an extra 150 hours of my time to commit to it, at least. And that's if I don't die on my way to 60. So I never got there. BDO obviously doesn't have any raids because our game is dog shit. And then Throne of Liberty doesn't have any raids because it's a dog shit, you know. So like I'm looking forward to trying raids for the first time when I reach max level in Guild Wars. And then it would be cool to shot call a raid. I mean, like I love shot calling in general. So like I think that the shot calling aspect and like the getting together, I think that I would be an amazing raid leader. I don't mean to pat myself on the back, but I think that if I can shot call PvP in Black Desert and Throne of Liberty, I think that I can more than handle like PvE stuff. I think that I would be a god at it. And the reason that I think that I would be so good at it is because I did it in Destiny. The Destiny 2 raids are only like 6 people, but like everybody had to be working together and like doing exactly what they need to. And I always shot called those raids. I also was a shot caller in League of Legends too, but again, that's more like PvP. But like, I think that, bro, shot calling raids would be sick. I could also call people evolutionary degenerates, right? Devolved, you know?
Yeah.
That'd be sick.
How is Guild Wars 2 trending? Well, it seems to have seen a peak with its End of Dragons expansion in 2020.
I mean, I feel like it's doing okay. Wait, you know, I don't need to zoom down for this one. The graph is high enough that you can see the side of it.
That it has been slowly falling from since. Holding on to number 7 on the list is Wizard 101.
Are we losing to children that are playing on their iPads? Are we kidding me? Are we joking right now? Holy shit.
This was a gateway into the MMO.
All 3 of my games are losing to a game that could be played on an iPad.
Scene for many children around 2008 when it launched. It's still going strong today, and it's still getting new updates regularly. The game lists itself as free to play, but veterans of the game will tell you it's more honest to call it free to try, as you'll...
Dude, the last time I watched this video, one of my good friends named Swaggy Panda, he's gay as a bag of dicks, but that's beside the point. He, like, I jump into voice with him, and he's literally like, dude, he's like, you won't believe what I'm playing right now. I'm like, what are you playing? He's like, I'll stream my stream. He streams the screen. He's playing Wizard 101. I'm like, why are you playing this children's game? And he's like, well, honestly, you're playing World of Warcraft Classic right now. And I said, shut the up. That's completely irrelevant. It's not a children's game anymore. It doesn't count. He's like, well, neither is this. I've been playing this for years. I was like, okay, I hate this shit. I hate that people my age are playing this shit.
You'll need a sub in order to access all the game's best and most relevant content. It's definitely a unique...
I hate that this game is better than the games that I currently play. I hate that.
Entry featuring a card collecting style of content. It also includes your more usual MMO staples like housing and fishing. And despite its humble beginnings, it's still here comfortably holding down the number 7 spot 16 years after its initial release. Moving up 4 slots to number 6 is MapleStory. MapleStory launched in 2003 in the East and 2005 in the West. It was immensely successful and still manages to stay relevant nearly 2 decades later. So far, the game has reached over 260 million.
Thanks for convincing me to sell my BDO account and quit. Really helped me move on to the objectively better trending game, MapleStory.
That's what you get. That is what you get. Now I'm not listening to anyone. Now no one gets listened to.
Million registered users worldwide.
I can't hear the video. I hate that people still play this game. I hate that this game is still so popular despite the fact that Nexon has been crazy disingenuous with the monetization of the game. I think that the reason that our genre is completely doomed for pay to win in every MMO in the future are the players of MapleStory. I think that the other companies look at MapleStory and Nexon and how Nexon treated their player base and how they were punished for that action. For those of you that don't know, Nexon basically lied about the RNG chances in a game. If you spent more money buying rolly boxes for RNG, then they would artificially decrease your chances because they knew you were going to spend more money. So you would have less of a chance of getting the thing. Right? And if you spent less money, you would have a higher chance in order to get you to spend more money, and then they would lower your chances. Okay. And this was all revealed in a very public way, and they were sued, or they had to pay fines or whatever of like, I don't know, a few $1 million. They made probably close to hundreds of millions of dollars off of these, if not more than that, right? Off of like this predatory monetization. So they got like a slap on the wrist for it. And then their players...
think about that when the Riot MMO comes out, all these shit games will be crunch.
Shut up. So again, their players did not abandon them. Their players spent more money as a direct result of it. They only got fined for a few $1 million, and they made hundreds of millions off of the exchange, right? Or off of like doing it. Right. So what it showed everybody else is we can just pay to win monetize our MMO. And now everybody complains about pay to win MMOs when you guys are the problem. If you play MapleStory, you're the problem. You are part of the problem. Right. Other MMOs are pay to win, but at least the other MMOs that are pay to win weren't trying to exploit, like blatantly and obviously exploiting their player base in a super disingenuous way. Like, again, playing a pay-to-win MMOs does not help, but we don't really have much option anymore. And then when you see shit like this, and behavior like this, and the player base of MapleStory rewards Nexon for doing this, it just... Chrono Odyssey's going to be pay-to-win too. Watch Chrono Odyssey be pay-to-win as well. Watch all of them be pay-to-win, and it's your fault. You cannot complain about pay-to-win if you play games like MapleStory. Because the company showed you they were being disingenuous and trying to milk you dry, and you still invested in that company
and grossed over $3 billion.
You could say the same thing about Black Desert and Throne of Liberty as well. However, we have no evidence that Pearl Abyss or NCSoft are necessarily manipulating RNG rights, right? Yeah, it's bad that we play like the pay to win like machine games, but like at least we're not Nexon yet. True, but I will tell you right now, if Pearl Abyss or NCSoft got caught manipulating RNG prices, do you think the question is, do you think if Pearl Abyss got caught doing this in BDO, do you think that players would stop playing BDO? If they got caught knowing that if you paid for your cronstones, like with IRL dollars, that your chances of getting the enhancement actually went down from what they showed you, do you think that less players would play BDO if that came out? I actually don't think that the player base would change. And again, that is more evidence that we are doomed to have pay to win in every game. I don't think that the player base would change. I think that players would just keep right on doing it.
In lifetime revenue. It's got over 40 different classes for you to try and offers an incredibly unique and accessible experience.
I would tell you that I would stop playing. I would be like, all right, I'm done with this game. It's the same reason I don't want to trust any game that Nexon runs. I am extremely distrusting of Nexon for the shit that happened with MapleStory.
It runs on a toaster and it's got 2 decades worth of content, so there's plenty for you to do. This side-scrolling MMO has done a good job of...
Okay. Yeah, what? Bro, what the Bro, what the is going on? Bro, by the way, the controversy came out like a few years ago. You'll notice again, they didn't lose any players. Didn't care. Nobody gives a shit. And that's the problem. You guys can't... Oh my god, I can't believe all these new MMOs are pay to win dog shit. That's because you're all still playing games like MapleStory. You showed them that even if they do some disingenuous shit, you're still gonna play it.
Staying relevant over the years, even outliving its intended successor, MapleStory 2. With only Fang's hype fading and a lack of new content, WoW Classic has fallen 2 places to number 5 on the list. In March of 2017, Blizzard finally caved and announced they would be making World of Warcraft Classic. World of Warcraft Classic was a return to WoW before its controversial additions like raid finders, excessive cash shop items, and the WoW token.
This game should be higher. It's an underrated game.
WoW Classic is the classic MMO experience through and through. Slower combat and a strict adherence to the trinity of tank, healer, and DPS.
Although recently, my buddy said that he plays WoW Classic like a lot. And he PvP'd a bot because he found somebody botting. You know, WoW has a lot of problem with bots, and Blizzard just doesn't care. Anyway, he killed a bot to keep it from botting in PvP. And then the people that controlled the bot all mass reported him and got him banned for 7 days. Blizzard literally banned him for killing a bot in the game. Because they're... And that is exactly why I don't trust Blizzard at all either. I played StarCraft 2 for many years. I loved StarCraft 2, and I watched what they did with StarCraft 2. They abandoned the community. They don't give a fuck about their game. They didn't give a shit about really anything at all. They just completely abandoned it. Overwatch is also a perfect example. The community carries that game on its back too. Blizzard is really good at putting out like base level games and horrible at managing them. You could also say the same about Diablo. All right, the Diablo 2 and even Diablo 4 at its core, like it was a solid game when it came out, and then they just refused to listen to anything that the community says or does about the game. It's just like the same thing in Overwatch. It's just like StarCraft 2. It is just like World of Warcraft. And that's why everybody likes playing WoW Classic, is because it's just a throwback to when the game was good, like the best part of World of Warcraft, right? WoW Retail still has a tremendous amount of players, obviously, but like a lot of those players are also really upset with the game, and there's a reason that so many people play WoW Classic.
Actually have to use crowd control abilities and fear aggregation.
I loved the depth that WoW Classic had, and I felt like the way that it introduced me to my class. Again, I was a brand new WoW player. I'd never played it before, for the most part, when I played WoW Classic and OnlyFans for the first time. And what I really loved about it is I played Warlock, an Orc Warlock, because I got Orc. It was like the race. Anyway, the depth, every level up was super cool. And it showed me something new about my class that I didn't know the previous level, right? And this is a Warlock playing right here, or maybe it's not a Warlock actually, but he's got my stone there.
Too many mobs. There has been...
He's got my stone here, which is pretty cool. Did you know that, like, again, as I leveled up, I got higher levels of this stone, and I realized that I could put all of them on the hotbar. So like I could be using like 3 or 4 of them at a time. So if I got in an oh shit moment, I could use all 4 stones at the same time. It's super sick. Yeah, it's a paladin. Okay, well, regardless. This is a super sick game because the amount of depth and skill ceiling in the game is actually really, really high, despite how old and aged it looks. It kept me focusing on my skill rotation and how to min max my class and how to dive into the systems and stuff. And it did it in a slow, gradual way that made me want to explore the world more and made me like nervous about how I explored the world and how cool everything was. Also, the dungeons were really cool. It was my first experience really doing dungeons like that. Yes, Throne and Liberty had dungeons, but in hardcore classic WoW, dude, you make a mistake, bro, the whole group wipes, you know. The whole group wipes. And I thought that was pretty cool. The fact that we all had to work together, you had to do pulls in very specific ways, and every boss had mechanics and stuff, was a super, super cool thing. There's a reason why World of Warcraft is still such a popular game, despite the fact that it looks and feels very dated. It's still just the S tier, you know.
Been a lot of talk from Blizzard developers suggesting that Season of Discovery...
Yeah, I mean, one of the downsides of the game is it requires a massive amount of add-ons in order to play the game. And again, the reason, this goes back to my earlier point. It proves my earlier point. The community has to carry World of Warcraft to be a phenomenal game in 2025. It's the community that carries the game, not the developers. The community's add-ons and everything that they do for the game to make the game playable is what carries the game and makes it good. Because without any of the add-ons, the game is basically completely unplayable.
Is basically a research experiment for a truly new WoW Classic, or Classic
because Blizzard refuses to manage the game.
Plus. They say they've learned a lot about what makes Classic, and there's a lot of things they did in Season of Discovery that they would never do again. I've been saying...
It's also an interesting aspect of WoW, which I think is really cool, where like a parent, like let's say a dad with like 3 kids, you know, that works like 2 jobs or whatever, he's got a lot going on. Well, he's only got like 1 night free a week, and he can still raid with his WoW guild, you know, on Wednesdays. He can still like log in and with the boys. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't have the time to grind like BDO, like you would need to in BDO or Throne and Liberty or some of these other games to stay ahead. But like you can still log in and play with the boys, and your gear is still relevant. You know what I mean? There's just something about it that I think that people really like.
For a long time, I hope WoW Classic will...
I'll do Siege of Outer in like an hour or 2.
Eventually do what old school RuneScape did and carve its entirely own path, completely forking from retail WoW. I think this is the only way we'll see it hold players' attention.
It's not my proudest fat, but I could probably get there.
For longer periods of time than it currently is able to. I hope in this new version of Classic WoW, they do everything they can to avoid becoming another dungeon queue simulator. We already have retail WoW for times where all we want to do is log into the dungeon and raid finder. WoW Classic, sitting at number 5, is further proof that there is a strong appetite for the classic MMO experience, untainted by WoW tokens, microtransactions, and loot crates.
True.
Speaking of loot crates, moving up one place.
What? This dog shit? I'm sorry. This basically horse shit? Dude, what? How? ESO is good? Stop. Bro, these people claim to have an action MMO RPG. I'd rather just have New World. On my ranking of like combat in MMOs, ESO is right above turd shit. Like, because I've played BDO, I've played a few hours of Lost Ark, enough to at least experience the combat system at all. Even Throne and WoW Classic, Guild Wars 2, all of those games have better combat than ESO does. At least that's how I feel.
Nice. To number 4 on the list.
However, I hear really good things about the storyline in ESO. I hear really good things about some of the PvP in ESO, but again, I am deterred from trying the PvP because I feel like the combat just ESO hater. I wouldn't say I'm necessarily a hater. I hate it right now because it's beating every game that I play. I don't know. I'll try ESO in the next couple of months. I'll try it. I have not played it yet. I just know like I've watched a lot of reviews on the game. I've looked at the combat for the game. The combat just doesn't look super good. Like I used to be really good friends with Dots. You guys remember DOTZZ Dots? I don't think that he makes content anymore. That guy? Yeah, he was a big ESO creator back in the day. Came over to be a BDO for a while. And he's told me a lot about the game too. And like and how again the combat is just not there. You know what I mean?
Is Elder Scrolls Online, which just announced it would no longer be following its annual chapter expansion model, instead opting for seasons. The developer says this is to facilitate the creation of more varied content. This change comes with an additional new monetization model. So now
I'll give it a go. I don't want to say that I'm an ESO hater. I hate that it's beating every other game that I play, and that's why I'm being particularly harsh on it right now, because I don't think that it's better than WoW Classic. I think that ESO being better than WoW Classic is crazy. But like, I also think that Guild Wars 2 has to be a better game. There's no way. BDO being better than Elder Scrolls? Obviously, I think that BDO is better than Elder Scrolls. Is Throne better than Elder Scrolls? I don't know about that one.
Now ESO will have a
But
subscription
like, that's my bias take.
model like a normal MMO, but it will also have a seasonal battle pass that you can pay for on top of that. At first glance, this sounds to me a bit like they are double dipping and even triple dipping if you count the loot crates that all of the good cosmetics are locked behind. I'll be curious to see how this is implemented and how it's received by the players, and I'll keep you guys posted. ESO has 12-player raids, 4-player dungeons, as well as a ton of single-player content for you to enjoy. It definitely leans towards the casual MMO player and stands out as one of the more story-driven MMO experiences out there.
Yeah, I hear really good things about the story.
Elder Scrolls Online features action combat, so if you're used to tab targeting in MMOs of old, it's going to take a little bit of getting used to. ESO is seeing a resurgence of players right now as it approaches its next big...
Holy shit, it dipped really low. Somewhere around like October of 2024. Holy shit. I don't understand what's happening, idiot. Did it come out with an expansion? What the
content drop.
Blue Protocol at the end of this year. Stop it. Hey guys, Blue Protocol failed before. We're gonna try it again. Surely it will be successful this time. Come on. I will say that new game, the next new gacha that I am interested in playing, where the combat looks really good, is that the Silver Palace. That shit looks really good. That shit looks so good.
Tipped $30.37. Hello Blue, I hope I will see you playing more Guild Wars 2. If you need any help with shot calling and large scale PvP, feel free to ask me anytime.
Hold on, let me look up who. Demon Side. Yo, thanks for the $30, buddy. Holy shit, we are gonna 100% being playing Guild Wars 2. 1 gajillion percent. I'm loving that game. That is my next game that I'm shifting to make content for in the meanwhile, while we're waiting kind of for Chrono Odyssey. I will be keeping up on Chrono Odyssey. I'm going to be playing the crap out of that game when it releases. But like Guild Wars 2 is like my next big project game where I've decided, okay, we're going to make some content for this game. We're going to see how this goes. Because I think that my audience wants to see me be successful in that space. I think I want to be successful in that space, and I'm very interested in a game that has large-scale PvP in it with really smooth combat. It's just tab target this time, which is interesting. Again, and the tab target combat of Guild Wars 2 is definitely stronger than Thrones, so it's definitely got potential, yeah. Have you seen the Chrono Odyssey closed beta trailer? Yeah, we watched it earlier today when we went live today. Thanks, lady, I appreciate you. Yeah, we've been keeping up on everything Chrono Odyssey. We put out a video like 2 days ago on my YouTube.
Honestly, with how bad the characters look in ESO, I'll be surprised to see you make it through the character creator.
Dude, I play Guild Wars 2. I don't really care as much about the graphics too much. I feel like ESO's graphics have not aged particularly well, but they're fine. If I can play WoW Classic and I can play Guild Wars 2, ESO's graphics are really not my issue. I am very concerned about the combat, right? I'm concerned that the combat is not super great. I'd say the line for the graphics that I'm willing to play is right around exactly RuneScape. Exactly RuneScape. Go get the fuck out of here.
Putting it firmly.
Anyway, I released a video 2 days ago on Chrono Odyssey, all of the lore and stuff behind the different NPCs and the first part of the campaign, all the different houses and stuff. We read through all that on the brand new wiki that just came out. So yeah, I've been really trying to stay on top of the Chrono Odyssey updates because that game looks like it's going to be sick.
In the number 4 spot next to some heavy hitters. Moving up 1 spot to number 3 is Final Fantasy XIV.
This is another game that I think that deserves to at least be. This game is very consistently always in the top 3. It was number 1 like a year and a half ago or whatever. But the thing that deters me from doing this is the same thing that interests me in doing it. What does everybody say I need to play Final Fantasy IV? The main storyline. Right? The main story. And what does everybody say? How long does the main story take? It's like 120 hours. So like literally every time I ask someone, every 400 hours, stop it. Every time I ask someone, I'm like, should I get into Final Fantasy? They're like, yes. I'm like, okay, well, when does the main story start getting good? They're like, about 120 hours in, you're going to start having fun with the main story. I'm like, so I have to play this game for over 100 hours before I get to the good content? They're like, yeah, but it's really good. It's really good. I'm like, well, like, I don't, what are we talking about? Skip button? Bro, if I'm going to skip to, I hate this. I hate this concept. Yes, you can skip the main story. But then you've essentially skipped all of the content that makes Final Fantasy good and the reason that the players chose to play the game in the first place. It would be like in Guild Wars 2, paying to get to max level immediately without exploring the world at all. Do you think that that would be a genuine way for me to play Guild Wars 2 and actually experience the game? I could skip immediately to the world versus world content and immediately to the group content of the game. But don't you think that I would miss like an integral part of why people fell in love with Guild Wars 2 in the first place? Yes, of course I would, right? And Final Fantasy, very particularly, very, very importantly, if I skip the main story of Final Fantasy, my understanding of the game is that I have skipped 90% of what makes Final Fantasy good outside of the raids. The most recent raids.
You will probably have a chance to get a girlfriend if you play FF14.
Yeah, but she probably has a penis again.
This MMO is no stranger to the top 3. Final Fantasy XIV continues to earn its position in the top 3 with its constant and massive content drops from one expansion and patch to the next. Final Fantasy XIV is a fantasy MMORPG that places a massive focus on the story. The single-player story content comes first, and every piece of the game that follows is built in service to that end. The dungeons are unlocked.
Okay, so I right-swiped again on... Okay, in fairness, saying that I right-swiped is kind of disingenuous. My experience with like Tinder and Bumble and all these dating apps is and I do that about 100 times a day. Okay, about 100 times a day. I just right swipe everything. And then, you know, you go through like the matches and you just determine which ones you want to talk to. Well, I start talking to the one of them and then they're like, by the way, I have a penis. God, not again, bro. Not again. God, every time with these people. I want to have kids, bro. Bro, some of these transgender people, I swear to God, they're hot, bro. They're so hot. But fuck, I want to have kids, so no.
As part of the story, the trials are unlocked by and woven into the story. Some
All
of the
what
most
would be left if you skip FF14's story is some raids and a lot of Fuda nightclubs.
What if I want to go to the Fuda nightclub? What the f is wrong with you? I like that too. I want to get the full Final Fantasy experience. If I don't have e-girl drama in Final Fantasy, have I really even truly experienced the game? Be honest with yourselves for a minute. If I am not involved in some sort of chopping trees situation like Ffxiv, okay, or some sort of e-girl drama in Final Fantasy, did I really get involved in the game? What are we talking about? E-girl drama, Ashes. I had promising hopes for you, and then you dashed all of them. You sick. Honestly, I was really hoping that you were going to take down our entire guild by trying to get together with Tough. I was going to farm it. It was going to be great. Disappointed me.
So your final boss in your MMO life will be e-girl drama?
God, I hope so.
memorable cutscenes in the game are literally delivered in the middle of
Anyway, I don't mind adopting kids, just to be clear, to address that. I don't mind adopting kids, but I want to have a few biological kids of my own.
Trial while you're fighting for your life. It also features 22 different classes and the trinity of tank, healer, and DPS. Final Fantasy XIV has a best-in-class free trial, now allowing you to play the first 70 levels and the first 2 expansions for free. After that, you'll have to buy the game and pay the mandatory sub. Thanks to this mandatory sub, however, the game is free of pay to win, it's free of loot boxes, and it has hundreds of cosmetics and mounts that you can earn in-game by playing the game. Looking at
insane that Guild Wars 2 and Final Fantasy perform this well without having any pay to win in the game.
the charts, Final Fantasy seems to have leveled off since its initial decline in...
Well, let's be honest. It's not really declining, right? That's why the Google Trends are kind of disingenuous, right? Because they are a little bit. I'd say that they're a great indicator for who's playing the game right now, obviously, or like who's at least interested in it. But let's be honest. When an expansion comes out for a game, the Google Trend is going to be crazy. So like this list is going to shift wildly depending on who has recently dropped expansions. Now, Lost Ark is kind of the exception because they've basically been declining for the last like 2 years. So again, it's good to see like the Google Trends in general. But like you can see, there's the Final Fantasy expansion, and then it goes back to its normal player base, and it basically sits at its player base until the next expansion comes out where it spikes again, and then it does the same exact shit again. Right, same exact shit again.
Players after
this is in contrast to BDO, which you see a spike for the expansion of BDO, but you don't see nearly as much of a drop off normally. And the reason why
weren't you already chopping trees IRL with the recent storm stuff?
Yeah, I was.
Monka.
But like when you're chopping trees with an e-girl, there's actually like stuff you're getting. Oh, never mind. Just pick the one for your region.
The Dawntrail expansion hype tapered away. Sitting at number 2, we have World of Warcraft Retail, which has dropped one.
Wait, number 2? Wait, it didn't? Wait, who's won?
Position as its active player base slides as it moves away from.
WoW is dead. WoW is dead. Holy decline. God, you're dog shit. What the? Wait. We haven't seen RuneScape yet. Oh no. Not like this. Not like this.
From its very successful War Within
Thank
expansion.
you, Blue, for telling me to quit BDO and buy an RTX 5090 to play RuneScape. I have really enjoyed it.
I'm gonna kill myself in Minecraft. I'm gonna test the weight that my ceiling fan can hold later with some 240-pound weights that I have laying around the house.
Warcraft is a massive, seamless MMO that still handles scale better than any other MMO I've played. You can see locations multiple zones away and get on your mount and fly there. World of Warcraft makes you feel tiny when you walk up to massive structures. These are things that a lot of
True, I guess. It is true that WoW does that. I think that Guild Wars 2 does that even better, though. I'm going to be honest. I've now played WoW and I've played Guild Wars 2. At least a good amount, right? Put about 150 hours in a WoW Classic, like hardcore WoW Classic, by the way, which is like the hardest version of WoW. And I've played a good amount of Guild Wars 2 now. I can tell you Guild Wars 2 does scale the best of any MMO that I've ever played.
MMOs created well after WoW are still unable to deliver on
WoW
today,
also does it really
to them
well.
being broken down into smaller zones with rampant loan screens in between. WoW still looks solid thanks to an art style that has aged well
Zolcher
over the
just
years.
resubscribed for 12 months. Happy first anniversary.
Congratulations, Zolcher. Thanks so much, man. The sex from here is only going to decline. You're welcome.
But perhaps more importantly, thanks to numerous engine overhauls that have kept it feeling somewhat modern despite being 2 decades old. Though the cartoony art style is definitely hit and miss with players. World of Warcraft features the
art
trinity
style
of
is
tank,
S
healer,
tier.
and DPS and has 13 unique classes,
It's
each
aged
with
so
multiple
well,
different
bro.
specs. There is a lot of single player content for you to level your way up, as well as
like Demon
dungeons
Hunter.
and raids. So what does interest in WoW look like right now? You can see on this graph how WoW absolutely dwarfed the competition in its prime, looking at its popularity from 2004 to 2012.
Bro. The state of this genre has never been lower than it is right now. We are down so bad.
Nothing else even came close. When we look at the last year, though, we can see that its population is sliding as it moves away from its expansion, and competition is getting fierce. This MMO isn't the
competition is getting fierce with the other game that was released in 2004. Like, what are we talking? Competition is getting fierce with the other games that were also released at the same time. All of the games that released in like the last couple of years are all over here, guys. We're so good. This genre is so good.
untouchable titan that it once was, with Final Fantasy XIV passing it briefly during its Dawntrail launch, and now a new #1 passing it today. Moving up to the #1 spot is old school RuneScape. You can play this on any computer less than 20 years old and your phone. And
Thanks for convincing me to sell my BDO account and quit. Really helped me move onto the objectively #1 trending game, old school RuneScape. Its character models are so hot, the graphics so good, and don't get me started on the intricate combat. It really takes the entirety of my 5090 to load in the epic world.
It's worse than Minecraft. God, look at it. Look at the pit. Like, it's just like polygons, dude. Why are we doing this? Stop playing this game. Guys! People play this on their phones. How is this the #1 MMO in our genre? Go play Valhalla.
Refrigerator. The system requirements are so low that this is look at the punching bag, man. Probably one of the most accessible MMOs out there, and I think it owes a lot of its success to this. On top of that,
riveting combat. Look at him swing this sword. It's crazy.
Is a game run by the players, with each significant change voted on by the player.
Doing jumping jacks.
Base. Players literally get to vote yes or no on anything that the developers want to add to the game, resulting in the most unique MMO development cycle out there. Old school RuneScape.
My thoughts exactly.
Launched as a result of the community hating some of the changes that were made to the game. Retail RuneScape added WoW-like abilities and a massively pay-to-win cash shop, and so the community begged the developers for the creation of old school RuneScape.
Bro, you know it's bad when your players are all playing the older version of your game. You know you're dog shit developers when everyone goes to play the old version of your game. You are so bad at developing your game, they would rather just play the original version.
Darkness, my old friend.
That's how bad you are at developing games. That's how terrible the monetization has gotten in the MMO genre. That's how bad it's gotten. We would all just rather play a game that we can just own and play on our phones than play the pay-to-win cash grab garbage that comes out in the 2020s.
Finally agreed and created servers that were based on a 2007 version of the game before the pay-to-win was introduced and before this new combat system was introduced. RuneScape.
I was in high school, man. I was a sophomore in high school. I remember going down to the computer lab in high school and people were playing this game. Literally, people were playing this game. It was Facebook and this game. That was like all the rage. Holy shit.
RuneScape is unique because it does not have the
The
player
fluent
follow a
percent
linear
dollar is this. COMG my eyes.
Yeah, so I'm saying. And then again, StarCraft 2 came out, and I still hold that StarCraft 2 is one of the best games I have ever played in my entire life, and that the professional StarCraft 2 players are the best professional esports athletes in the world for any game, hands down. It is the most impressive to see StarCraft 2 players play that game. It is absolutely out of this world what those players are able to accomplish.
Storyline, but instead has the player choose their own path through the game. Players can choose to kill monsters.
By the way, I am throwing around the idea that there will be a sub goal during my subathon to play this garbage game. Terrible game.
Go off questing or level up.
But it's going to be really high. I'm going to be honest with you. Play StarCraft 2 instead? Of course I would. I would love to play StarCraft 2 instead. But during a subathon, it's really not up to you.
One of their many different skills. Old school RuneScape is a make the numbers go up game. You skill up and level up your crafting, your sword wielding.
Look at this trash combat.
Fishing, anything you can think of, you level it up by using it. RuneScape is a very sandboxy MMO that allows for a lot of AFK skilling, and thanks to its slow pace and incredibly low computer requirements, it's very accessible. It's got some pretty involved quests that would be near impossible to figure out without the help of add-ons and guides, but it's as old school as it gets with a very clunky combat system and user interface. It will definitely take some patience and getting used to if you're going to try this one for the first time in 2025. This is
if you are trying old school RuneScape for the first time in 2025, stop. What are you doing with your life? Just rethink everything. How in the is the Google trend for this outpacing World of Warcraft? Look at the graph. It's not like this game has expansions. It's not like it's not like this game, like all of a sudden it got so much better. Like, what are we doing?
The first time old school RuneScape has hit the #1 spot during
It's getting an expansion this year, bro. Has it come out with an expansion yet this year? On this graph is the expansion represented. No, it's not. No, it's Grixis. Shut your mouth. It updated its graphics. This is the updated version.
With a very clunky combat
This is updated.
system and user interface. It will definitely take some patience and getting used to if you're going to try this one for the first time in 2025. This is the first time Old School RuneScape has hit the #1 spot during one of my semi-annual updates to this list. And I think there's going to be a lot of Old School RuneScape fans that aren't surprised at all, and I think there's going to be a lot of people that don't
Odds
play
on
Old School
Blue getting
RuneScape.
forced to play this for 12 hours and getting addicted.
I'm not. There's no way I'm playing this without getting paid an exorbitant amount of money.
And they're looking at this MMO going,
I refuse to believe that I would play this game and actually enjoy it so much that I would keep playing it. There's no shot. I refuse.
how can this be the most played MMO right now?
Thank you, Lucky Ghost. So true.
But what do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. We've seen some massive upsets to the start of 2025, with some popular MMOs clawing their way up to the top,
Where's
while others
Valhalla
slid
at,
their
bro?
way to the bottom. In the last 6 months, we've seen multiple MMOs drop absolutely stunning expansions, making
Isn't
it
this Valhalla here?
a
You
good
showing?
time to be a fan of these games. Did any of the results on this list surprise you? Which MMOs do you think are going to move up in the future or down? And is it possible for a new MMO
Plus,
to
we're
make it to
showing
the top
mobile
of this
games.
list? To find out, be sure to like and subscribe, as I'll continue to cover MMOs like the degenerate MMO player I am. As always, massive shout out and massive thank you to my YouTube channel members. To become a channel member, click the join button down below after clicking subscribe. Joining gives you perks like access to a private Discord channel, behind the scenes footage, and more. Sincerely, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.
I love these videos, I'll be honest. I love these videos. I'm a huge fan of these videos. Mainly because, honestly, Google Trends, there's only so much a Google Trend can really show you, right? But it is interest in the game over time, right? And I think that that's an important thing for an MMO, is how many people are Googling content for the game. It does accurately show interest in the game. And the fact that you have the MMOs like Old School RuneScape, Retail WoW, Classic WoW, and even Final Fantasy, Guild Wars 2, all at the top of our genre, show you just how terrible the monetization in the games in our genre have actually gotten over the years. I recommend you go interact with the video. I love Lucky Ghost. I like the videos he puts out for it.